Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of What We Know So Far Is by Conor McDonnell. This is a poetry collection from Bookwriter Books. It came out October 7th, 2025. I received this book from River Street Reads in exchange for a fair review. A cryptic and meditative journey, What We Know So Far Is a poetry collection in the modernist style discussing today. What is it about? Apparently what we know is nothing, as there is no blurb for this book. I could not find the original, because River Street sounds like a list of their books, and you can kind of be like, I want to request this one. I couldn't find that list, and then there's nothing on Goodreads, so you'll have to just listen to this review, I guess, to figure out what this is about. Poetry is highly subjective, as I've said so many times. As such, while I enjoyed this collection and understood what it was doing, it was hard to connect to without really studying it deeply. It reminded me heavily of The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, which I love, given I have a line of it tattooed on my back, which I often forget about, and then I wonder why people are staring at my shoulder blades. And then I'm like, oh, right, I got that tattoo like 15 years ago. Anyway, so it reminded me of The Wasteland in that its meaning at times is dependent on picking up on allusions. I know I missed so many. So I think footnotes actually would have been a big benefit to this book because The Wasteland has footnotes, and that's really the only way you can understand the book. There are endnotes, though, in this that I enjoyed. Like, it talks about the stories in particular. They were like kind of like mini explanations about the poems in a way at times. But I think footnotes with citations or maybe in explanations in them would have helped me with this collection specifically. I think that's because so much of our modern life is almost harder to make allusions to because there's so much media. In the 1920s, it was easier in a sense because literature was so esoteric and like less mass produced, at least the scale we have now, that it was more likely people would pick up what you were throwing down when you made an allusion or a reference. And The Wasteland has lots of biblical references in it, which because of how much people were inundated with the Bible back then, it was more common knowledge. Like people reference like some biblical person nowadays, and I'm like, I don't know, Job is or whatever. Isn't that also the guy from Arrested Development? Now, someone can reference a popular show, but there are so many popular shows, chances are you haven't even seen it. And while I worked at a video store in my youth in the early to mid 2000s, I was never a big TV watcher. Even now, I'm like, know next to nothing about TV. So I'm missing out on a whole swath of allusions likely made. Even when people reference like Game of Thrones, for example, this book I don't think does that. I don't know, maybe it does. And I didn't pick up on it because while I read the books, I didn't watch the show. It was such a zeitgeist show. Like, you kind of had to watch it when it come on like Sunday nights at like 9 p.m. or something like that. I'm like, no, I don't watch TV on Sunday nights. Like, also it's like way too late. So, like, it was like a water cooler show, like you would watch it and then talk about it the next day at work kind of thing. And so like that, I didn't know appeal to do that. Anyway, I'm blabbing on and on and on. All this is to say, though, that rather than allusions, you have to derive meaning from context, which was not difficult, but I found it just like less immersive. Yet, what he has done is brilliant. I understood the intention and the themes. It's about how words connect us as much as our physical ties to the earth and to one another as humans. Given the author is both a doctor and a poet, these two things were blended in a way that made sense and gave the collection a gravitas and a realism. It's really, really good. It's really, really fascinating. When I'm saying that I couldn't connect to it in a certain way, it's just because I kind of felt like I was missing something. And, that's not really a problem. That's like more like a me thing. In terms of style, the poems rely heavily on enjambment, which I also love, which is like, when that's not a poem. When you have a sentence and then the sentence carries over onto the next line, and that gives us emphasis and kind of almost like a different meaning of what you expect to read. Does that make any sense? I am exhausted today. I had like 3 hours of sleep. And the poems are at times sobering and occasionally darkly funny. It's a very interesting collection. My favorite poem was number 7, VII, if you don't know your Roman numerals. Because it's short, I'm going to read it to you to give you a sense of the style in hopes that it will intrigue you enough to pick it up. I believe words are thirsty predators, pack hunters. To be seen is death to the herd. To be heard means death on scent. Words cower in the long grass of language, slip blades of whispered phrase before striking, when the herd, ignorant and illiterate, is seen and grammatically gored. There is a little play on the word herd there, so it's both, would you like my nails? both heard as in like an animal and heard as in the auditory sense. So anyway, that is kind of what you will get from this, that kind of playing with language, references to things. That one didn't have too many references to it. If it did, again, I didn't pick up on it. But overall, a lyrical, fascinating collection that I will totally read again one day. Thank you so much to River Street for the review copy. It's so fun. It's very minimalist. I like it. Kind of looks like an old, like, classic textbook. Yeah, so thank you.